Imagine this. You're sitting in the deepest darkness of the quietest night. Suddenly, an old radio, one you hadn't even turned on, whispers strange codes. That's exactly what happened to astronomers around the world just a few months ago. A mysterious signal sent directly from the depths of the cosmos. A signal that today's science still can't answer whether it's the sound of nature or a greeting from someone watching us from the shadows of the stars. Please don't scroll past. We'll dive into humanity's greatest secret, from signals that made the whole world hold its breath, to the latest discoveries in 2025 that might change our belief of being alone in the universe forever. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this journey beyond the horizon of events. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most chilling yet captivating topics: the mysterious signals from space. Humans have been trying to listen to the skies for decades. We've built colossal radio dishes. We've sent spacecraft far, far away, just to ask one question. Is anyone out there? But do you know? Sometimes, the answer that comes back is even scarier than silence. In the world of radio astronomy, we often encounter interference, whether it's from satellites, microwaves in the kitchen, or even from pulsars, which are neutron stars spinning rapidly. These pulsars are like cosmic lighthouses. They spin at incredible speeds, emitting radiation pulses more precise than atomic clocks. When scientists first discovered them, they even nicknamed these signals LGM-1, short for Little Green Men. But the signal we're talking about today, it's different. It has order, rhythm, and immense energy, so much so that the physics we currently have can barely explain it. We'll start at the beginning of a nightmare, or perhaps a hope for alien hunters, the signal dubbed the WOW signal. Back on the night of August 15, 1977, at the Big Ear Radio Observatory in Ohio, the atmosphere was quiet, with only the sounds of machinery and old computers at work. Dr. Jerry Amon, a volunteer for the SETI project, was routinely examining data printed from the computer. The data were just numbers and letters indicating the intensity of radio signals detected by the dish. But then, his eyes caught a sequence of letters and numbers, 6EQUJ5. To most people, it might look like a random password. But for an astronomer, this was evidence of the strongest and narrowest narrowband radio signal ever detected. Each character represents the signal strength, with numbers 1 to 9 indicating low strength, and letters AZ indicating progressively higher strength. The letter U in this code means the signal was 30 times stronger than typical cosmic background noise. Dr. Amon was so excited, he grabbed a red pen and circled the code, writing a short word next to it. Wow! That's where the name of the most famous signal in history comes from. What makes the WOW signal so astonishing isn't just its strength, but its frequency. This signal was at 1420-405 MHz, a frequency close to the spectral line of hydrogen. Why hydrogen? Because hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. Scientists believe that if intelligent extraterrestrial life wanted to send a message to someone in the universe, they would choose this frequency because it's the most universal language in the cosmos, like tuning a radio to a popular station everyone knows. But the real mystery is, after those 72 seconds, the signal vanished as if it had never happened. Why 72 seconds? That's due to the operating characteristics of the Big Ear radio dish. It was designed to sweep the sky as the Earth rotated, and the point from which this signal originated would only be in the dish's view for a maximum of 72 seconds, which means the signal might still be transmitting, but we just rotated away from it. We tried pointing the dish back to the same spot in the constellation Sagittarius, again and again, for decades, but silence was the only reply. Until 2024 and 2025, new theories emerged. Some scientists proposed that the WOW signal might not have come from aliens, but could have been caused by an event called a magnetoflare, or an explosion of a neutron star with an extremely strong magnetic field. Or, even more interestingly, the theory suggests it might have been caused by a hydrogen cloud, coincidentally amplifying a signal from a distant source, like a magnifying glass focusing sunlight. This phenomenon is called a maser, which is the amplification of microwave signals by stimulated emission of radiation. But whatever the truth may be, the WOW signal left a scar in the scientific community. It reminds us that the universe is vaster than we can imagine, and sometimes we might just be lucky to hear a whisper from the darkness just once. If you thought the WOW signal was scary, listen to the story of the latest discovery, which just happened on March 15th, 2024. On that day, China's new advanced space telescope called Einstein Probe, a collaboration between China, Europe, and the Max Planck Institute, detected an extremely powerful and unusual X-ray burst, unlike anything seen before. Scientists coded it as EP240408A. This signal didn't just flash and disappear like the WOW signal, but it glowed brightly in the X-ray spectrum for 10 days. At first, everyone thought it was a typical stellar explosion, or what's called a supernova, which is the magnificent death of a massive star. But there was something unusual. The speed at which the signal faded and the characteristics of the energy emitted indicated an event called a tidal disruption event, or simply TDE. Imagine this: a star, which might have orbiting planets like our Earth, accidentally gets too close to a black hole. The immense gravitational pull of the black hole starts to tug more strongly on the side closer to it than the side farther away, until the entire star is ripped apart into pieces, like spaghettification. The remnants of the torn star orbit the black hole at high speed, generating immense heat that emits X-rays, and sometimes this enormous energy is released in the form of a jet, blasting through space at nearly the speed of light. But astronomers say EP240408A is even more special, because the black hole acting as the executioner this time might be an intermediate mass black hole, which is the rarest type of black hole. It has a mass hundreds to thousands of times greater than our Sun, but less than the supermassive black holes at the center of galaxies. What's interesting is, this signal faded much faster than theoretical predictions. Typically, TDEs take months or even years to fade, but EP240408A vanished in just 10 days, leading some scientists to question, could what we're seeing not be the natural death of a star? It's been observed that the signal pattern is too orderly, almost as if someone is using the energy from a black hole to send signals across galaxies. Or perhaps it's a high-level technological experiment by a civilization far more advanced than us. Although most conclusions still lean towards natural phenomena, EP240408A has opened a new door, showing us that in the dark corners of the universe, there are still monsters we don't know, and they might be sending us a warning. Now, let's move a little closer to home, not from a distant galaxy, but a signal coming from space junk, orbiting our own Earth. This is the story of NASA's image satellite, launched in 2000 to study Earth's magnetosphere and the magnetic field that protects us from solar winds. Everything seemed normal until December 18, 2005, when this satellite suddenly went silent. No data transmission, no response to commands. Scientists tried to recover the system for months, sending reset commands and using telescopes to search for it, but without success. Eventually, NASA declared the image satellite dead, assuming a primary power system failure. It became just a cold, lifeless chunk of metal, drifting aimlessly in space for over 13 years, amidst tens of thousands of pieces of space debris. But then, in January 2018, Scott Tilley, a Canadian amateur astronomer who was using his home radio dish to search for signals from secret US government satellites, stumbled upon a familiar radio signal emanating from a position that should have been empty. When he analyzed the signal code, he was shocked because it was a signal from the image satellite. A machine that had been dead for 13 years suddenly came back to life and started sending data back to Earth as if nothing had happened. The data sent was still in the same format, as if it had just woken up from a long sleep. The question is, how did it happen? The most plausible theory is an electrical short circuit, or that it was hit by a cosmic ray, causing the frozen computer system to reboot itself, like a home computer that freezes and then suddenly starts working again on its own. But that was just the beginning of the strangeness. Because in 2024 and 2025, there were reports from satellite monitoring groups that the signal from the image satellite began to show anomalies. The data sent back was no longer scientific data, but a series of numbers that looked like coordinates, pointing to a specific empty spot in space. Some scientists began to propose a theory that sounds like science fiction. Could this dead satellite have been interfered with by something that used our old machinery as a tool for communication, because it's easier than creating a new signal itself? Think about it. If you were an alien wanting to contact humans without causing panic, sending signals through a human-made satellite would be quite a clever way, wouldn't it? It's like someone secretly using a mobile phone you lost a long time ago to send you a message. Currently, NASA continues to monitor this signal closely, even though they say it's just a software glitch. But for those who are listening, the call from this dead satellite sounds like a whisper from the spirit world, warning us to look at what lies beyond the darkness. Now, we come to the most exciting story, and perhaps the clearest evidence of the existence of something beyond our Earth. In 2025, the Atlas Sky Survey System, which stands for Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, detected a fast-moving object entering our solar system with a strange trajectory. Scientists named it 3I Atlas. The letter I stands for interstellar, meaning it's an object from outside our solar system. It traveled across the void between stars for millions of years before visiting our home. It's the third object after Oumuamua and Comet Borisov. But what makes 3I Atlas different is that it didn't arrive silently like its predecessors. Several radio observatories worldwide, including large radio dishes in Australia, detected pulsating signals continuously emanating from this object. The signal's frequency changed with its rotation, as if it was scanning or sending some data back to where it came from. Scientists calmly tried to explain that it might just be a space rock, with a high composition of metallic minerals and semiconductors, and when it passes through the sun's strong magnetic field, it undergoes electromagnetic induction and naturally emits radio waves. But do you know, there's a group of independent researchers and signal engineers who analyzed that signal using artificial intelligence. They found something astonishing. The rhythm of the signal was too complex to be a natural phenomenon. It had a pattern similar to a mathematical code, composed of binary numbers. Even more astonishing, when 3I Atlas approached Earth most closely, the signal's frequency changed to the same band humans use for satellite communication. And there was a signal that looked like a response to radio waves emitted from Earth. Is this a coincidence or an intentional tuning for us to hear? Imagine this. If 3I Atlas isn't a rock, but an autonomous probe, sent from a civilization thousands of light years away to act as a sensor, detecting signs of life. When it found us, it began sending signals back to report. Although 3I Atlas is now moving away from our solar system and slowly fading into the darkness, it has left us with a big question. Was what just passed us by a strange space rock, or a reconnaissance drone from another civilization that briefly visited us before departing forever? Before we conclude our conversation today, there's one more signal that was just recorded on March 16, 2025. That is FRB 2025-00316A. FRB stands for Fast Radio Burst, or a rapid burst of radio waves. This signal traveled from galaxy NGC 4141, which is 130 million light-years away from us. That means what we just heard was an event that occurred back when dinosaurs still roamed the Earth. Imagine the energy, released in just a fraction of a second, yet it's billions of times brighter than the entire Sun. The energy an FRB releases in 1 millisecond is equivalent to the energy the Sun releases in an entire year. What makes FRB 2025-00316A interesting is that it's a repeating FRB. It didn't just burst and disappear, but it emitted signals in cycles, every 16 days, with each cycle having a precise signal length. This regularity has led scientists to suspect that its source might not just be an astronomical phenomenon, like colliding neutron stars, but could be a megastructure, such as a Dyson sphere, using immense energy for some purpose. We might be listening to the engine of a Type 2 or 3 civilization, according to the Kardashev scale, which is a civilization capable of controlling the energy of an entire galaxy. They might be using these radio waves to propel massive spacecraft like light sails to travel across the universe. Finally, when we look back at all the signals we've discussed, from the mysterious wow signal to the call from the dead satellite, we might still not have a clear answer to, are they real, or are these signals just a coincidence of nature? But one thing is clear: humans never stop listening. Our attempt to decode signals from the stars isn't just about science, but it's about hope. We hope that in this vast and cold universe, we are not alone. We hope that the meaning of our existence will be recognized by someone. Perhaps these mysterious signals weren't sent for us to understand, but for us to realize that we are just a tiny speck in an ocean of stars, and the silence of space doesn't mean no one is there, but it might mean we are still just children, learning to listen to the sound of the waves before daring to sail into the true ocean. Silence doesn't mean emptiness, but it's a space waiting for us to fill with understanding. And you, if one day a signal reaches you, would you choose to reply, or would you choose to remain silent? Comment and let us know, and don't forget to subscribe to journey with us into the next secret.